Well, Mark, I felt walking down to the ground tonight through the beautifully landscaped lawns that they have around this sparkling stadium, the Donbass Arena, that it really felt like the perfect night for tournament football. The temperature was absolutely lovely, certainly to sit and watch it. I'm not so sure about playing in it, but the prospect tonight that we have Spain, the defending world and European champions, against another country that have won both these competitions in the last 2 decades. But of course, Spain, strong favourites. Let me run you through the teams in full once again. Spain playing with Fabregas, Torres on the bench. So Casillas in goal, Arbeloa, Piqué, Ramos and Alba. Busquets with Xavi to his right and Alonso to his left. Xabi Alonso winning his 100th cap tonight. And then a little further forward, David Silva, Andres Iniesta, who predictably has been one of the best players at the tournament, and then Cesc Fabregas as the furthest forward. And the French team tonight, interesting, 4 changes. No Nasri for France, no Mexes either, he's suspended, but Ben Arfa and Diarra also left out. So Reveillère and Koscielny, Laurent Koscielny of Arsenal, come in for their first appearances of the tournament. Reveillère, who's 32, Chris tells us he's going to play on the right hand side of midfield, although it just does look as though he's going to be playing at right back. Reveillère at right back and Debuchy on the right side of midfield, and Malouda also coming in on the left side of midfield, and Cabaye also returning to the team. So the French side, Lloris, Reveillère, Rami, Koscielny and Clichy, Debuchy, Cabaye and Villa and Malouda with Ribéry and Benzema. The referee tonight is an Italian, Nicola Rizzoli, although Craig Thompson of Scotland is the 4th official this evening. And we're just about ready now tonight, way out east here in Donetsk, 400 miles east of Kiev, for the 3rd of the quarter-finals at Euro 2012, and it is the French who get the game underway, playing in the almost all-white kit with the blue trim, defending the goal to our left. That's the end where those Spanish supporters are, and they might not have filled their section, but they're certainly noisy. And Spain tonight as group winners from the first phase in the red shirts with the yellow trim, blue shorts and red socks. Chris Waddle's here with us in our little commentary booth here, which is an interesting one, with a very low ceiling that you banged your head on when you stood up for the national anthems. I couldn't help snigger at that. What about a thought about these teams again, and specifically the French team? Well,
you can see how the French have set up already, haven't they? They've got a line of 4. Ribéry's sort of playing inside left at the minute in the centre circle. He's obviously got licence to wander a bit more. Benzema down the middle. They've asked Malouda to do more of a left-sided job, but he's going to have to tuck in to make to cancel out that 3, which Spain always are very effective in the middle of the park. And obviously in Villa will have to watch Fabregas, who keeps dropping off to make a 4 in midfield, which is very hard to pick up.
So it's Spain against France here in Donetsk on BBC 5 Live, and it's the Spanish with the ball inside their own half and just knocking it around. Alonso gets his first touch of the game, and here he is again, crossing the halfway line. Alonso looking to thread a ball down the left-hand side for Jordi Alba to move on to, but of course comes the covering challenge from Rami to whack it out into the crowd down to our left. It's quite a low position that we've got here. The Donbass Arena is 3 tiers all the way around. The orange and black colours of Shakhtar Donetsk very much dominating, but such a colourful scene here this evening. And at this stage of the competition, we have supporters from all around Europe. Shirts of all different varieties can be seen dotted around the place. France clear the ball away into the Spanish half. And it is once again Piqué who picks up possession and gives it to Xavi, who drops deep into his own territory. So we've got 2 Centurions now in the Spanish midfield. Xavi winning his 113th cap this evening. Looks up and goes for a ball out towards the space on the right-hand side for Arbeloa. Arbeloa now to Silva. Oh, that's a heavy touch from David Silva, most unlike him. And now Ribéry will bring it away for the French. Benzema on the halfway line, gives it back to Ribéry, who couldn't take it into his stride. And then in comes the challenge from Piqué. But now Malouda again, as France come again. Malouda with the outside of his boot, stabs it to the left-hand side. Benzema's there. No one inside the penalty area for France when he received it, and he's lost possession, and the Spanish have it back. And they're now countering. Fabregas back heels it in the centre circle to Xavi. This is lovely as they come forward. Iniesta with a touch, Xavi with a touch, and then back to Alba, and it all slows again.
When you saw the French there, committed 4 or 5 bodies forward. He has a ball offside anyway if he did get it, Fabregas. But The French there tried to play a counter-attack with the pace of Ribéry. Benzema lost the ball quickly. All the white shirts quickly get back into position behind the ball because they know how good the Spanish side are.
Famous French faces all around the place. As Spain give it away, Alonso gave it away, and now it's played forward towards Benzema on the edge of the box, but Ramos was there, Sergio Ramos with the challenge right on the edge of the penalty area to play it out of play off the Frenchman for a throw in to Spain 10 yards away from the corner flag.
Well, it was Cabay who intercepted it. It was a slack pass by Spain, and really he didn't need to play the ball that early to Benzema. He could have run another 3 or 4 yards before he squared it to him.
Yep, so Spain take the throw and clear it away downfield, and Rami is going to watch it roll out of play just down to our left here. It's actually fielded by a cameraman who kicks it back to Rami. Yeah, Arsene Wenger's just down to our right hand side working for French television. Robert Pires is here as well. You had a long discussion with him, didn't you, before the game, Chris? And while you were doing that, I noticed that just a few yards away from you, long conversation between Nasri and Fabregas, the two who both left Arsenal at the start of this season. Here comes Jordi Alba, but he overran it, and in came Jan Umvia, the 21-year-old, to put in the challenge. Silva now. Oh, in goes a crunching challenge from Clichy on his clubmate Silva. Ball runs to Spain though. Silva up on his feet once more into the full-back position against Umvia. Still Silva. Oh, gives it away straight to Cabay on the edge of the box when the run was made by Fabregas, and it was just played behind him by Silva. France will break here at the halfway line. Benzema, who again has been very deep in the early stages. Benzema, and it breaks down and Spain have it at the back.
Well, obviously he's got to drop off, but the whole tournament I've been disappointed with him, I've got to say. He's a goal scorer. You know, he's got a good goal ratio this year in the shirt of Real Madrid, and that's where he gets his goals. And alright, they may dominate a lot of games, Real Madrid, but he's in the box scoring goals. For France, he plays far too deep.
Space now for the left back once again. Jordi Alba making ground down the left. Fabregas in possession, gives it back to Iniesta. Oh, it bounces off the defender on the edge of the box, Koscielny, but he's able to follow up and volley it away to Alonso, who brings it down on his right instep and immediately looks out towards the right hand side to Silva and swings a pass that Silva controls out on that right flank for Spain. And then Busquets now gets involved in the action. Back into the centre circle. Alonso lifts it over the top, and there's a collision there. Fabregas was challenged by Clichy, his old teammate, and Fabregas is pleading. He's pleading with the assistant and the referee to give a penalty for that. It's a goal kick.
I've got to say, look, the penalty. He did. He couched his heel. They're both watching the ball, and Clichy's clipped his heels, and he's gone down. And really, for me, that looked a penalty, and I was saying they're both watching the ball, and he's just running, he's caught his heels, but if that's the way, he's took him down. So for me, that should have been a penalty.
Clichy is watching the ball drop over their shoulders, but he knows very well where Fabregas is, and he knows how close he was to him, and there was every chance that he would make just a little contact there. And France maybe a little fortunate there for that challenge by Clichy on Fabregas. No penalty, it remains 0-0. And here's Malouda now in the centre circle, challenged by his opposite number, his fellow number 15, Sergio Ramos. No free kick. Ramos moved away from that, wagging his finger, and Spain once again in possession halfway inside the French half. Alonso back to Iniesta, and now Sergio Ramos is involved in the action, and Alonso once more picks out Busquets, who looks up and then flips it out over the top of Silva, who couldn't control it and bring it down, and it's out of play for a throw into France.
It's all Spain at the minute. Definite penalty for me. We're getting another rerun of it. For me, that's a penalty. It's a trip. Whether he knows he's there or not, that's a trip. It's a penalty. Referee should have given that early in the game, but he hasn't. And it's all Spain, which we expect to dominate in possession. France just can't get out, and when they do get it, they're very disciplined, France, at the minute, but when they do get it, they just give it away too easy.
So Spain 0, France 0, and more or less the pattern that we expected. No Nasri, if you've just switched on to our coverage this evening on 5 Live. No Nasri in the French team, no Torres in the Spanish team. Incidentally, 6 of this Spanish team appeared at some stage in both of the finals. Was that Alonso who was going for goal? I thought it must have been from almost the halfway line, but Lloris was alive to it and just backpedalled and caught it.
Brilliant effort. We've seen him do that before. He did it a lot
number of times.
At Liverpool. He used to do it regularly, didn't he?
Yeah. Kenilworth Road, I remember him scoring.
Good, a terrific vision. He's got a great pass on the ball.
Didn't he score one against Newcastle as well?
I think so.
Yeah. From way out. He's a lovely, clean striker of the ball, isn't he? He has Iniesta now, just inside his own half. Iniesta back to to Sergio Ramos, who again just doesn't look like himself at this tournament, with the blonde highlights having disappeared. Ball's played back to Casillas and left for him by Piqué, with Ribéry arriving very quickly on the scene, and it was just whacked left-footed out of play by Casillas for a throw to France on the left.
That was good pressure by France. Ribéry chasing it down, and maybe a little bit of lack of communication between the centre half and the keeper, and he plays it into touch.
And the French tricolour is being waved, but I think that's optimistic to say there were 800 French supporters here. It looks more like 300 absolute tops. And the flag, the red, white and blue of France, being waved in that corner as Ribéry now wriggles away down the left hand side. Challenge came in on him, Ribéry went down, ball out of play for what is simply given as a throw by the Italian referee.
I think he's good, the ref. I think he did the England game, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
He's good. He's very aware of the diving and people trying to con him and get free kicks, and so far he's handled the game very well. Yeah,
he did that one, and I think the Portugal-Holland game as well, which I think is one of the best games of the tournament that we've seen, that one. It is Spain inside their own half, 0-0, and neither goalkeeper really at the moment has been tested. Comes back to Sergio Ramos. There's Laurent Blanc in his shirt sleeves on the edge of the coaching area. It feels really hot and sticky for us in our box as Iniesta plays it through for Fabregas, but too far ahead of him, and it runs through to Lloris, who picks it up. I don't think it's quite as hot as it actually feels in our little box here this evening.
I think it's warm, John, but I think it's very humid. It's very close, isn't it?
It's that low ceiling. Mind your head next time you stand up.
It's like Tom and Jerry, that bump would come up.
It is. Busquets made quite a crack. Here's Sergio Ramos now, moving the ball towards the halfway line. And then Xavi, with his black hair slicked back. Xavi turns and gives it back to the bearded Piqué. Piqué now to Silva, who just controls it and moves away from Malouda, and then uses his left foot to find Fabregas in the centre circle. Now Iniesta holds off the challenge that comes in on him from Reveillère, and now Fabregas, the space out on the right hand side. Fabregas finds Arbeloa. Arbeloa's cross is far too close to Lloris, who's able to catch it.
No, I've got to say, Spain have got the full-backs forward quite a bit tonight, haven't they? So already Arbeloa there, it's a little bit too near the keeper, but they had two, three red shirts coming in for the cross, but the keeper, easy catch.
0-0, Spain and France. And Lloris, all in yellow, clears left-footed now long into the Spanish half, bounces off the shins of Piqué, but Ramos to Busquets, who turns and looks forward and finds Alonso to his right hand side. Now again Spain come down the right flank. Silva, and then Arbeloa joins in the attack again. Silva once more, lots of white shirts back behind the ball. France not taking any chances in these early stages. Busquets, now it's out to this left hand side, and Alba back to Alonso, and Alonso now again flicks it towards Silva, slightly behind him, so he has to adjust, take it down and then set off towards the penalty area. Spanish players in red shirts all around the edge of the French penalty area. Now Busquets to the right hand side once more, and Fabregas tries to fashion a pass to Arbeloa, who is in an offside position anyway, and it's through for a goal kick.
Arbeloa's got forward well tonight. Fabregas should have released him first time, didn't he? He was looking at other options in the box. By the time he does release him, he's 5 yards offside. But it's all Spain. Saying that, they haven't worked the keeper. They've had a lot of possession, which we expected. France would be pretty happy. They knew it was going to be this type of game, and they're just waiting for that one opportunity, which he'll get.
So Fabregas furthest forward for Spain as they take this goal kick. France, how do you feel about the very fact of this false number 9 position? Because it seems alien to us that very often the Spanish, with all of their threat, never have anyone inside the penalty area.
No, it's a perfect goal, I suppose, and the way they walk it in, more or less, don't they? They really, it's having the discipline, John, to stay disciplined, focused. Once you come off the pace and think, I'm fed up with chasing him, I'm not going to chase him, that is when they wear you down and they open you up and they get the goal. You've got to be strong mentally to play against Spain. So far, France have been.
Chris Waddle with us here in the east of Ukraine. There's a lovely, cool gust of air just blew in there. I'm wondering whether that storm that we were told about might be anywhere near. There was 70% chance of a storm of the same intensity that there was that evening here. I'm sure you will have seen pictures of it on television or otherwise when France played the Swedes, and it was absolutely torrential. But in fact there isn't there? There's just a little coolness in the air all of a sudden here, which is a blessed relief to everyone.
I think that's something to do with a helicopter just above her.
Do you think so? Shouldn't come too low. Here's Sergio Ramos running away from the edge of his own penalty area. Just delays and delays. Iniesta now in the centre circle. Back it goes to Busquets. Very patient this from Spain. Now Xavi, who's on the left hand side. It's been mainly on the left of Busquets. Now Iniesta through the middle of Fabregas. Fabregas out, it goes towards the right hand side, 30 yards from goal. Silva now approaching the penalty area. Silva by a deflection. Arbeloa pulls it across, wastes it completely, and it ends up going out for a throw-in to France in their own right back position.
Well, that's when they're at the best, though. They just sort of have a few passes. It's all slow. You're watching them, you think there's nothing happening, and they just shift a gear and they go. Little 1-2s, little triangles, and they got the full back in again. Who I say, Arbeloa is playing really, really forward tonight.
It's just been the final ball from him at the moment, the tall right back. France take the throw-in, and Alba concedes another one. So this will be taken by Reveillère, France's number 13. His first appearance at this tournament, his first appearance at any tournament. He was an unused substitute at the World Cup 2 years ago, Reveillère. So his first appearance at this level as a 32-year-old. Great moment for him. Malouda now to Clichy, who's got some space to move down the left-hand side, but it's all very ponderous. And he turns and he gives it back to Malouda. And now Umvila. The whistles from the supporters inside the ground give you an idea that they want to see Spain perform tonight. The Ukrainians. Reveillère to Umvila. Umvila pulls the pass towards Benzema on the edge of the box, but it was way ahead of him. Just on his heels, Benzema, and it's out for a throw to Spain.
That's better for France, isn't it? What did they put there? 6, 7, 8 passes together. First time we really saw them string a few together. And again, just a little bit overhit, but Umvila looks a very talented footballer.
Spain 0, France 0, BBC 5 Live. This time tomorrow, it's England's turn in the quarter-final against Italy, the last of the quarter-finals. The winners of this one tonight will come back here on Wednesday night to play Portugal and Cristiano Ronaldo. But it's 0-0 between Spain and France, and I must say it has been quite cagey in the opening 15 minutes of the match. Reveillère back to Umvila, and now Koscielny, Laurent Koscielny, like Reveillère, making his first appearance of the tournament. It is only his fourth cap for Koscielny. Ribéry now on the left hand side. Benzema sets off on a run to goal, gives it back to Ribéry, but it was just slightly ahead of him and he had to check, and now picks it up in the full back position, then overruns it, but plays it off the Spaniard Silva, who came in with a challenge, and it's out for a throw into France.
Well, they're growing in confidence, France, aren't they? They're stroking the ball around really well, and they're starting to look a threat, which we expect. Listen, they've got good players. They don't have to just keep chasing the ball. When they get it, I've been waiting for them to look after it, and they're doing well.
Throw in. Benzema now inside the penalty area on the left hand side. Ribéry's onto it, red shirts all around him, and he stabs a pass intended, I think, for Cabaye. Didn't reach him, it was intercepted, and Spain played away, although it's given away by Silva. So the men in white, the French, have the ball back once more, and here is Malouda. Slightly surprising choice this evening, Florent Malouda. Then it comes back towards Koscielny in the middle of the French half, and he goes all the way back to Lloris in the goal to our left. Still the Spanish drum is banging away behind the goal that Lloris is defending. I can see certainly one of those Spanish supporters dressed up in a pink Matadors outfit. Ball forward towards Fabregas, who was in an offside position. So 0-0.
Whether you play with a normal centre forward or a converted one from midfield, yes, we know Spain brilliant technically in possession, which we expected and what we saw, but you've got to say they don't work the goal.
No, not at all. But Fabregas has scored twice in this tournament, and when Danny Mills and I, when we were commentating on the game against Italy, were raising questions about the system, it was Fabregas who popped up, and the system worked to get the equaliser against the Italians. 0-0. At the moment, it's very early to say it, but I wouldn't be entirely surprised if this went a long way into the Ukrainian night. Here's Xavi in the centre circle. Xavi to Busquets. Iniesta now. He's not really been able to get into the game so far, Iniesta. Xavi once again has the ball, just caressing it with his right foot, and then out it goes once again to Arbeloa, halfway inside the French half. and then Fabregas, and again triangles from Spain. Xavi through the middle, but straight at Koscielny, who's able to intercept, and Malouda plays it way beyond Ribéry, who's furious with that, and it's out for a throw into the Spanish just inside their own half.
Well, so far they just can't unlock this defence, and France give them credit, very disciplined. There's a long way to go, and people do switch off, we know that, there's going to be chances, but at the minute give the French credit, they've got a game plan which is working.
Not the radio, I hope. Here's Iniesta, back into Xavi in the centre circle. Busquets now once more. Benzema trundles onto the scene, but Xavi knew he was coming and just moved away and gave it to his mate Iniesta. And Iniesta now manages to find Alba down the left. Alba leaves the defender for dead, crosses towards the back post, and the header is in, and it's Alonso winning his 100th cap tonight, who scores the opening goal of the quarter-final against the French. Xabi Alonso, and it's Spain 1, France 0.
Oh, what a great goal. I kept saying before the game, didn't we, about the fullbacks don't get forward early enough or quick enough. And I've got to say, they've proved me wrong tonight so far, both of them. Jordi Alba just walks in, and they are playing two right backs on this right-hand side, France. Unfortunately, one of them loses his foot, and he should have went a bit earlier. Great turn of pace. Fullback falls over. Great delivery. And what a header into the ground, back across the goal. Lloris, absolutely no chance of saving this. It's a terrific header. Xabi Alonso all on his own at the far post. Djibouti falls over. Alba's just got time to pick him out, and it's a terrific header.
Yeah, Alonso just almost sauntering in to plant his head onto it and send it back across Lloris's dive, bouncing into the net. So winning his 100th cap, Xabi Alonso scores his 14th goal at international level. And now Spain come again. Fabregas in the D, back to Xavi, and Xavi hits a shot, slices it really wide and high at the near post and behind for a goal kick. So Spain in front.
Well, it's going to be hard for France now, isn't it? They'll keep it. I think Laurent Blanc will just try and keep the shape as long as possible before he has to introduce people like Nasri. We know what he's going to have to do, but at the minute he'll be quite happy. The way, even though it's 1-0, he's not going to panic, he's not going to rush into making their silly decisions.
He's looking very Gallic there, isn't he, on the edge of his coaching area, Laurent Blanc, stroking his chin with his left hand, a little like Le Professeur, who's just down the stand from where we sit, but just pondering how things are, just moving from foot to foot. So Spain lead by a goal to 0. And we're a little step closer to Spain against Portugal in the quarter-final here in Donetsk on Wednesday night. That would be quite a prospect, Ronaldo and co against the Spanish. But it is France now with it on the left-hand side. Ribéry tries to find a way through on the halfway line, but just runs into red shirts. Out of play for... Well, the throw was taken by the Spanish, and the referee, who is close at hand, says it is a French throw, which will be taken by Clichy. Clichy has stolen 5 yards almost, and then takes a throw that Benzema is nowhere near, and it just runs away often, and Spain will run it away from the back.
I think Benzema's struggled in this competition, full stop. I don't think he's played well at all. As I say, they bought into this Spanish way of coming deep there, France, and keeping possession and trying to outflood the midfield, but it's just not his game, and he's really struggled to play that role.
Yeah, not scored at the tournament. 32 goals for Real Madrid in all competitions this season. Add that to the 60 that Ronaldo scored for Real Madrid this season, but he just looks a little lethargic almost. 1-0 Spain lead, and Xavi now brilliant, evades the challenge from Avia. Now Iniesta at very close quarters does likewise, gives it to Xavi, and cheers from the supporters. They enjoyed watching that. Alonso, the goal scorer, again chips the ball out towards the right hand side. There seems to be constant space for Spain there if they want to use it, and they often do. Now Busquets again on that right flank. Silva, Arbeloa is in space here, controls it with his right foot, gives it back to Silva. Might have thought about crossing it into the area, but there was no one there.
Wonderful football, though, John.
Yeah.
The way they look after the ball, they make it look easy. You know, people watching saying, you know, you get some people who say they're boring, they don't go anywhere, they don't do anything. To play the way they do, you should try it, get a team and try it. It's very, very hard to play how they do. One touch, the awareness, how tight they play as well. They roll at people. If you're marked, you've got to be able to deal with it.
The flag of Macedonia appears in the crowd on the lower tier on the opposite side of the ground. Spain leading France by 1-0, and they're coming again, once again down that right side, and Silva now twisting and turning up against Clichy, goes past him to the byline, pulls it back, crosses it, takes a deflection, and that carries it to Villa on the edge of the area, who's able to bring it away for France. So halfway through the first half here on 5 Live, the defending champions 1-0 up. And here's Conor McNamara.
Thank you very much, John. Here come the French. A rare foray forward as Benzema picks out Debuchy on the right-hand side. Right corner angle of the penalty area. Gives it back to Mavia in midfield. Spain have got 9 outfield players behind the ball. Debuchy can't get in the cross the second time, and he's just put that ball out for a goal kick. That's one of the first times in the entire game France have got into the Spanish penalty area.
They've had a couple of times, haven't they, where they've had some nice movement, but that was a good counter-attack for them. And again, playing a full-back on the right side of midfield doesn't always work. Yes, defensively it can help you, but going forward it feels strange to them.
It's a warm, balmy night here in Donetsk, the most eastern venue of the host cities of Euro 2012, and I think it's fair to say, with 24 minutes on the clock, that Spain are in their element here. The pitch is suiting them, the atmosphere is suiting them, and they don't seem to be troubled too much by the way the French are set up to defend. I don't know if you noticed, Chris, in the build-up for the goal, I mean, lovely header, great cross. Before all that, Iniesta just majestically coasted past Cabaye to set that all in motion, and I think that's the difference. You know, many teams can send in crosses and can do headers, but to start it all going, the awareness of Iniesta and then the way he delivered that pass.
Well, I think what Iniesta's great at, he takes the ball inside the foot, outside the foot. If you get too tight and he rolls you, he's just got a terrific balance.
Here comes David Silva through the centre. Spain playing right to left as we look down. Iniesta helps it on to Fabregas on the edge of the box. Looks up, floats the ball back into the centre. Xavi peels away from Cabaye once again and gives it out to Arbeloa, and the linesman's flag has been raised, and that's going to be a free kick out to France. And while all that was taking place, apart from Ribéry and Benzema, France had pulled every other player back in around their own penalty area. And there's almost a petrified nature to the French when Spain are on the ball in those attacking positions.
Well, I think it's you know, the great thing with Spain is they're a wonderful side and they're great on the eye, and everybody's coming up with these plans how to beat them. And we saw how teams have defended against Barcelona, which really Spain try and play like, there's no doubt about it, very similar. And how you beat Barcelona, I think most teams who beat Barcelona have an element of luck. So you're just hoping tonight you defend well and you get a look. They've got a free kick now, 30 yards out, got to have a shot.
Benzema was the man who was fouled by the goal scorer Xabi Alonso. Benzema tried to flick the ball over the head of Alonso a la Gaza Euro 96, and Alonso claims he couldn't get out of the way, but I think he was standing his ground, and the referee has given the free kick. Now this must be this is 13-14 yards outside the penalty area. It's a long way out, but as you say, Chris, they're not going to get many chances to have a shot at Casillas' goal.
Well, it's Benzema who's going to take it, who knows Casillas very, very well.
The two clubmates from Real Madrid. Benzema with the shaven head stands. Short run up considering the distance. Here he comes over the wall. He was never going to score with that kind of a free kick. He just floated it over the crossbar. No power behind it at all.
He's tried Ronaldo. He's obviously saw Ronaldo in training at Real Madrid do it, but leave it to Ronaldo. Just, you know, he's trying to hit it with that dip and volley, which Ronaldo does with just above your toes. He did take a dip and volley. Ronaldo does it. How he does it's fantastic. He's trying to copy that, which he didn't have much success.
Karim Benzema there put about as much throttle into that free kick as Black Caviar's jockey did in the closing stages earlier on today at Ascot. But here in Donetsk, Spain, the reigning champions, are leading France by 1-0 scored by the former Liverpool man Xabi Alonso on what is his 100th international appearance tonight. Here come the French, wearing all white tonight. Benzema runs into Xabi Alonso. Spain get it back midway inside their own half. Fabregas, one touch to Xavi. David Silva looks up. He takes 2 touches. Back to Fabregas again on the right-hand side. French defenders rapidly scurrying back into position, and Spain happy to hold on to the ball in midfield. This is David Silva. 1 touch off to Busquets. I think all of the midfield players have now had a touch of the ball in this sequence of play for Spain. Piqué comes out from the back. Xavi onto David Silva, who had a good long chat with his club teammate Samir Nasri down on the pitch before kick-off. And if you missed the team news, Nasri, one of 4 changes for France tonight. He's on the bench, and he won't be happy with that, I'm sure. Here is Busquets on the left-hand side of midfield to Alba, back into Iniesta. Arbeloa's made a run on the far side, but they'll keep it short for now. And Xabi Alonso eventually puts his foot on the ball. Not often you see that. A long ball into the penalty area from Spain, and it goes harmlessly out for a goal kick.
That must have been, 14, 15 passes. Wonderful football again. And I know you get people who say, yeah, but he didn't have a shot at goal. But just the way they control the game is fantastic. Great to watch on the eye.
Spain have never won a European Championship quarter-final in regulation time. They kept 2 clean sheets in the group stages, the only nation to keep 2 clean sheets. If they keep another one here tonight, they will be going through. Alba at left back for Spain. I think some of the locals in the crowd are beginning to feel this has become too one-sided, and they've now started a Mexican wave around the stadium, and the Spanish fans are joining in with them. Here comes Malouda for France, who need to get something back here. This is Ribéry. Oh, ran into Xabi Alonso again and loses possession, and somewhere close by a Frenchman bangs a table, because I can hear the reverberations of it. Here is Fabregas, 10 yards outside the penalty area, slips it in front of Iniesta, gets the shot in, but it's blocked away off the defender Koscielny, and it's out for a Spanish corner on the right hand side.
That was a quick attack on it. Ribéry caught in possession, dawdling on it, looking for something that wasn't going to happen. Spain rob him, and within 10 seconds Iniesta's having a shot blocked, gets a corner out of it.
Spain have never beaten France in a competitive game of football. They are in front here. The goal came after 19 minutes. That was 10 minutes ago. And France have hardly had a look in since that one Benzema free kick, which disappointingly floated over the crossbar. So here comes the corner from the right hand side. 5 red jerseys in the penalty area. One of them, Fabregas, he got underneath it, and the header goes high and over the crossbar. And a goal kick for Lloris, the French goalkeeper. Takes the goal kick quickly out to Benzema on the halfway line. He tried to nutmeg Sergio Ramos. Ramos just clicked his heels together, and Spain almost effortlessly regained possession. It's been as one-sided as the French might have dreaded before kick-off.
I didn't think it would be any different. Even if France were to get a result, I think they would. Come the end of the game, if you would say to France you'll get 35-40% possession and you've got a draw, you go to penalties, they would have took that. They knew Spain were going to dominate the ball.
Xabi Alonso, the man who scored the goal, and it was also arguably been Spain's best defender in this game. Time after time, he's the man who wins the ball in front of the back four and makes sure that France can't progress into anything like a shooting position. Spain tried to come down the right hand side. Fabregas gives the ball away, and it'll be Adil Rami who sends it high and hopefully towards Ribéry on the left hand side. Ribéry doesn't get a touch. Benzema tries to bring it through the centre. He's been taken down again. It'll be a free kick, a yellow card for Sergio Ramos, and this free kick is much closer than the one that Benzema shot earlier on in the game.
Well, I think Benzema's walked away from this one after that effort he had the first one. Ramos, he went down very early and he got a yellow. He's a little bit unfortunate to get a yellow, I've got to say.
Sergio Ramos is not one of the Spanish players on the yellow card, so not in danger of missing the semi-final just yet. The yellow cards, by the way, get wiped after the quarter-finals. Basically, if you were on a yellow card and you were booked in the semi, you wouldn't miss out on the final. But players who've got a yellow card and are booked tonight would miss out on the semi-final. Looks like Yohan Cabaye, the Newcastle man, is going to take this free kick for the French. It's a little bit closer, but it's still in excess of 10 yards outside the penalty area. Slightly left of centre. Cabaye goes for goal. It was a good free kick, but touched out for a corner by Iker Casillas. It was heading for the top left-hand corner, and Casillas didn't take any chances. Fingertips it out.
That was a good free kick, wasn't it? Over the wall, aiming for that top corner. Just not enough pace to trouble Casillas, who got across there very easy. Just flicks it over the bar for a corner,
which is delivered right now, and this time Casillas under pressure, catches it, drops the ball, and then dives down on it to smother once again.
He was under pressure from Rami, who got right close to him there. He could have said it was a free kick. Rami comes in, there's a couple of them just jump with him. Rami gets the rebound as he bunts into, heads it out of his hands nearly, but he picks it up on the rebound. But France at times kind of just look like they could put something together and can cause a problem, but Spain have long periods of domination.
Here is Frank Ribéry, so electric at club level with Bayern Munich and so seldom produces that at international level. Lays a pass down the left-hand side. Malouda tries to bring it back into the middle, but too many Spanish defenders back there, and they put it out for a throw, which Clichy will come forward on the left-hand side to take. So midway inside the Spanish half, Clichy throws onto the chest of Malouda to the byline, left-hand side. Decent enough cross, but no one there to get on the end of it, and Ramos comfortably clears.
There's nobody gambling. Benzema is more interested in coming outside the box and trying to get on the ball and link the play. Get in the box. There's some decent deliveries. There's two gone in. Nobody near them.
Spain lead France by 1-0 here on 5 Live. France on the attack though, left-hand side. Ribéry this time crosses too close to the goalkeeper. Casillas down on his knees, but there was no one trying to pounce.
Well, somebody's got to gamble near post. He's under pressure. He's not going to stand and pick somebody out. He's just trying to hit it across the goal. And I always say with strikers, if you run across the keeper at the near post, you'll score a lot of goals.
The last 3 or 4 minutes have been France's best period of the game. They've had the most possession down in the Spanish half that they've had in the 33 minutes we've played. Let's see how Spain respond. They come forward down the right hand side, and Xavi helps it on to Fabregas, and that's David Silva back into the centre, and now Iniesta can turn and he gets away from Mavia, but he sends the pass behind Fabregas and it's through to the goalkeeper Loris. At the moment Spain have got Fabregas through the centre, David Silva predominantly on the right wing, and Iniesta just hovering between a central location and the left-hand side as he is required. Oh, France give it away again here in midfield. Xavi pounces onto it, scoops the ball up into the air. It's nodded down by David Silva, and then Busquets, rather than gamble and going forward, just plays a calming pass back to the back four, and Sergio Ramos releases Xavi on the right-hand side. A Real Madrid man to a Barcelona player, and this is Arbeloa on the right. Back in field to Iniesta. Two come to close him down. Smuggles the ball out to Xabi Alonso. Busquets, one touch. Iniesta, one touch. Helped on now by Xabi Alonso. And everyone again, apart from Ribéry and Benzema, are back behind the ball for France. Xabi Alonso gets the chance to look up. Direct ball to the feet of Busquets, and a good challenge comes in from Cabaye. And now Rami needs to be careful on the edge of the French box, and he just takes his time before clearing up to the halfway line. And once again, Xabi Alonso wins it back for Spain. And then Rivera gets it for France up towards Malouda. Might have been showing his studs a little bit as he went to gather the ball. That's what the referee thinks, and a free kick has been awarded to Spain.
Well, again, Spain getting that rhythm of just passing the ball around in triangles. But I've got to give France credit. They went a goal down and they've stayed disciplined, and I still think they will get a chance. As long as they can keep it at 1-0, they will definitely get a chance.
1-0 is always a narrow lead in football, and particularly in the first half of a game. We've got 10 minutes to go to the break. 1-0 to Spain here in Donetsk. This is 5 Live from the BBC. Tomorrow the breakfast programme comes live from Kiev with Nicky Campbell. A Sports Week at 8:30 features Trevor Brooking and Carlo Ancelotti. We've got the European Grand Prix from Valencia at 1 p.m, and coverage of the England against Italy game begins on 5 Live at 6:30. This is Ramos in possession for Spain. Left full-back position. And Debuchy briefly wins back the ball for France, but between himself and Benzema, they can't hold on to it for very long. And the ball goes out of play for a throw-in to the Spaniards, who were very relaxed when they came out to walk on the pitch earlier on. They were laughing, they were joking, and I did wonder were they a little bit too relaxed, but I think it's come through in their play that they're just in their element here. They're in their natural habitat.
They're confident. That's what they've got. They've got this confidence. They've got belief. They've won tournaments now. They know what they need. They're trying to set records, this group, and you can see when they walk out they look very relaxed, and they all know their jobs. They're very professional.
France have had one shot on target so far, the free kick from Cabaye that was well saved by Casillas. Here comes Ribéry. That's a good bit of footwork down the left-hand side. Delivers a decent cross, but Ramos on the edge of the 6-yard box heads it away before Benzema can come close. Bit of urgency about France now as the closing stages of the first half begin. Ribéry again, edge of the penalty area, doesn't get a firm touch on the ball, and Spain might be able to counter-attack now. Xabi, little drag back to himself, lovely play to elude Ribéry, and then Alonso's pass tries to set Xavi away on the right-hand side. Good interception by France. Ribéry allows the ball go through his legs. Benzema onto Malouda now, just outside the penalty area. Wide arc of a turn from the Chelsea man, but then he gives it out towards Clichy on the left-hand side, and look how hard the Spaniards are working. David Silva lunges in and wins the ball back for Spain.
People don't talk about that as much as you think. These are one of the best teams in the world at getting the ball back. you just see a swarm of red shirts after the ball, and they close you down very, very quickly.
Here comes David Silva. French defender has slipped in the middle. Fabregas wants an early ball in. It's short, though, from Silva to Iniesta. Xavi arrives now from midfield. Back out to Iniesta on the right-hand side. A wall of white French jerseys ahead of him. 1-2 on the edge of the box. Iniesta tries to get on the end of it, and it's somehow scrambled out by Koscielny for a corner. What a goal that would have been if Iniesta had been able to latch onto the ball over the top.
Wonderful 1-2, wasn't it? He just keeps his run going. Wonderful weighted pass back. Give the defender credit. He just gets back in time, Rami, doesn't he? And he just gets his foot on, not Rami, it's Koscielny. Just gets back in time, spots the danger, and just puts him off.
So a corner to Spain on the right hand side, and that corner over there is where the main contingent of Spanish fans are. Free header for Piqué from the corner. He's put it too high. There wasn't a French defender within 5 yards.
Who is marking him? You get before the game, you get your number who you're marking. You stick with that man, and you cannot allow people like Piqué a free header from there. He's wasted opportunity.
Just a close-up on our screens of Franck Ribéry, the French midfielder, whose jersey has been ripped right the way from his armpits down to his waist on the right-hand side, and it's sort of flopping as if it's just a bib at the moment. So clearly some defender has gotten hold of that at some stage. Possession with Jan Mevia on the halfway line, and we've not mentioned his name too often. The man who turns 22 next week, plays for Rennes, but highly tipped to move to the Premier League next season. And this is Cabaye in the centre circle, and they give it back to Koscielny. And now Adil Rami of Valencia on the right hand side knows all about these Spanish players playing his club football as he does in their land. Now this is Revaillère on the right hand side, gives it into Mevia. He's played very deep tonight. He's seldom touched the ball outside of his own half. Malouda back to Mevia again, and this time he digs out a decent ball to the right hand side. Benzema tries to help it on first time, on towards Debuchy. Debuchy beaten easily in the air by Ramos, and that's gone out for a throw in to France on the right hand side. Xabi Alonso's goal the difference. Spain leading the French by 1-0, and we've got 5.5 minutes of normal time to go until the break here in Donetsk. France have the ball deep inside their own half with Koscielny out towards Clichy on the left. Cabaye tackled immediately by David Silva. It'll be a French throw. Oh, will it? Referee in consultation with his assistant, and they say no, that throw-in will be for Spain, and Cabaye throws a dirty look at the assistant on the far side. Spain have possession. Arbeloa, lovely turn from Silva. He got away from his club teammate Clichy so effortlessly there. Now Silva to the byline, down the right hand side. Clichy recovered well, stretches out a leg and puts the ball out for another corner to Spain on the right hand side.
They've had some interesting battles in 5 days in training, so they know each other very, very well, and so far that's a good contest. But again, with another corner to Spain, 5 minutes to go, you've got to say they've controlled the game.
I mentioned
France, odd threat, but they've controlled the game, Spain.
Yeah, very odd threat, I think, for the French in this game. I mentioned Ribéry's ripped jersey. One of the backroom staff is trying to get a new outfit onto the field for him. Here comes the corner, swung into the centre. Piqué close to it again, but it's cleared out of the penalty area, and Ribéry is fouled. For a moment I think the referee was considering allow France to play on, but they weren't going to get any advantage there. So a free kick to the French midway inside their own half, and time very much running out for them now if they're to get back on level terms before the break. Ribéry deep inside his own half, chips to the near side to Adil Rami, who's built more like a second row rugby union player than a footballer. Looks up, passes to his left hand side. Koscielny, bit of pace now up towards the halfway line, up towards Ribéry, who tried to allow the ball run through his legs, didn't quite come off for him, but the loose ball falls for Clichy. Clichy skips around Xabi Alonso, and then a poor pass, and it's picked up by Busquets, and Spain have it back in the central third, and up towards Fabregas. And then Cabaye came in late on Busquets after the pass had been released, and I think both players have picked up an injury there, and if anything, Cabaye looks to have come off worse off from that challenge than his opponent.
Well, he's very competitive, Cabaye. We know we saw him in the Premier League and in this tournament as well. He's not frightened to put his foot in.
He's going to get a yellow
himself
card.
A yellow, and Ribéry's going to change his shirt.
So he gets something somewhat less resemblant of a Togo, and we get to see the challenge again. I think Cabaye was trying to play the ball, but there's no doubt he committed the foul on Busquets, and And one of the interesting statistics from last season, Yohan Cabaye made more tackles in the Premier League than any other player. But he was late on that one on Busquets. Both players back up on their feet and the game is underway. We've got 2.5 minutes to go of normal time until the break here in Donetsk. It's not been the most classic game of the tournament so far, but it's been thoroughly under the control of the reigning champions. Cabaye heads the ball forward towards Ribery. That looked like a push on him by Arbeloa, but the referee waves at Ribery to get on with it and to get up as Iniesta threads a ball through a congested midfield to Busquets, helped on by Fabregas to David Silva on the right hand side, up against Clichy once more. Nice overlap by Fabregas to get into a crossing position on the right hand side. There's only little Xavi in the middle, so they won't send it in high. Iniesta to the feet of Fabregas, disguised pass looking for David Silva, and Clichy was alert to that and puts it out for a throw.
Terrific pace recovery. What a wonderful turn of pace there from Clichy. Spotted the danger, plays it away. I think Laurent Blanc will be alright. You're losing 1-0 against the champions, and I think he'll say, look, as the game pans out, team players get tired, I might have to introduce a couple of attack-minded players, but we're not out of this. We still carry a little threat, even though Spain have dominated possession.
Undoubtedly, the way this first half is going, the scoreboard could be much worse from a French point of view. Busquets has possession, and it's not like Loris has been the busiest player on the pitch either, the French goalkeeper. The goal was very well taken by Xabi Alonso. Iniesta had that volley that was blocked out for a corner. Not been too many other shots on target from the Spaniards, 2 or 3 maximum, I would say, including the goal. It's going to be a free kick to Spain here, just outside the penalty area. Well, I say just outside, 10 yards or so, left hand side, and more of a crossing position than a shooting one. But France, not surprisingly, have brought everyone back behind the ball, and Del Bosque, the coach, has come right out to the technical area. And his instruction there is to Iniesta. Iniesta was trying to run into the centre, and very firmly Del Bosque was saying to him, no, you come back out here and stand by the free kick, taken by Xavi and comfortably into the chest of the goalkeeper Hugo Loris.
I think he was expecting players to attack it, come across it, and if everybody misses, how many times you see out nestle in the bottom corner, but nobody really attacked that in the post. Just looking at the possession on the telly there, it's 61% for Spain.
Well, it's felt every bit that, and they've not had to get out of third gear, the Spanish, in this game so far. Just holding on to a lead which was swung in their favour 19 minutes into the game. Xabi Alonso with a header. Having earlier on in the game, if you missed it, Alonso tried to score from the halfway line, and as John mentioned, he's done that in the past in his Liverpool days, when against Newcastle famously, and I remember being at Kenilworth Road the night he did it against Luton Town. Just 1 minute to be added on for stoppages, and I think France will be quite relieved to see the cool temperatures of their dressing room now for half time, and Laurent Blanc can show us what a good manager he is, and see how he can come up with a tactic to not just contain Spain but actually get a goal past them here in the second half. Blanc's contract, by the way, runs out in July. Should France go out of the Euros tonight, this quite possibly will be his last game in the job, and he's been linked with the Tottenham job, of course, among others. Ramos passes into midfield. Busquets has just done brilliantly there, sucked in 2 opponents, released the ball to Xavi, and here comes Spain now through the midfield, and it's not a lightning counter-attack. They're doing it at their own pace. Fabregas out to Arbeloa, back in field to Fabregas once more. Now Iniesta allows the ball just pass his body, picked up by Xabi Alonso. Iniesta's got 3 teammates to his right hand side, and there is the final whistle for the first half from the Italian referee Nicola Rizzoli. The goal from Xabi Alonso separates them, but Spain, Chris Waddle, have been very much in control.
Just controlled the game from the kick-off. Wonderful goal. Jordi Alba, lovely ball. Alonso, winning his 100th cap, gets a goal. And you've said they've just dominated possession. France carried the odd threat at times. I think as the game pans out, probably the first 15-20 minutes taken off, it stays as it is. You'll see probably people like Nasri coming on, and France have to go for it then, and we're in for a very open game.
The winner of this game will play Portugal here in the semi-final, also in Donetsk. At the moment, Mark Pugac, it's looking like Spain, but just the 1 goal in it for now. Spain 1, France 0.
Yes, they do. 1-0 down as we prepare for the start of the second half. There are 2 of Carlo Ancelotti's Paris Saint-Germain players in this squad. One of them is Jeremy Menez. who impressed when he scored one of the goals against Ukraine. Might see him in the second half, we'll see. We might see Samir Nasri as well, but no changes at the break. So Spain with Casillas in goal, the back four of Arbeloa, Piqué, Ramos and Alba, Busquets, and then Xavi and Alonso either side of him. Alonso the goal scorer, Silva and Iniesta and Fabregas, Torres among the substitutes. And France, as I say, Nasri also not starting the game, Lloris the goalkeeper, Debuchy, Rami, Koscielny and Clichy, Reveillère, Cabaye, Mvia and Malouda with Ribéry and Benzema. So we're ready for the start of the second half in the Donbass Arena, the home of Shakhtar Donetsk. And it is Spain who get the second half underway to a rather half-hearted cheer. The supporters of ball is played forward by Busquets, but that's way ahead of Silva, and it runs through to Lloris. The spectators are probably exhausted after all of the dancing at half-time. But France coming out at the start of the second half, and how long, Chris Waddle, do you think before Laurent Blanc will be thinking about possibly making a change?
I think 15-20 minutes. I think he'll see if he can get something out of this game now. Ideally, he wants to get an equaliser. I think he'd be quite happy to go to penalties, Laurent Blanc. But I think he'll give it 10-15 minutes. I think he'll get the subs warming up probably within the next couple of minutes and say, look, got to change it, got no option.
So Spain in the red shirts with the yellow and blue trim, blue shorts and red socks with the yellow trim, against France, who are all in white this evening. And it is the goal scorer, the bearded goal scorer, Xabi Alonso, with the ball just inside his own half. What a great moment for him to be able to score a goal when he wins his 100th cap. I suppose in cricket it's a little bit like scoring a century or taking 10 wickets in a match when you win your 100th cap. And here is Xavi now, and we see possibly a substitute early on, and Giroud is the man who has just been sent out first of all, who seems as though he's Arsenal bound this summer. But the ball swung forward from the halfway line for Spain by Alonso, but way ahead, and it's through for a goal kick. It is flat, isn't it, the atmosphere inside the ground? But I mean, the Spanish supporters are doing their bit, probably 1,000, 1,500 of them, and the few French supporters as well in their red, white and blue wigs and flags, but it is dominated by neutrals.
It's amazing how much you can get in a smart car nowadays, isn't it?
It is, yeah. A convoy of smart cars from France. Ribéry down the left-hand side for Malouda to chase, but Piqué turns with Malouda behind him and just side-foots it out of play for a throw-in as France play from right to left towards the Spaniards and the drum that you can hear. Ribéry, who I thought could have quite a frustrated figure at times in the first half. Frank Ribéry receives it now, but it bounces away from him and into the path of Ramos, who's able just to play it forward towards Fabregas, who takes it down now, second time beautifully, and then backheels it to Iniesta, who pulls it away from Ribéry. Just plays a game with him, really toys with him. He almost had Ribéry on a piece of string there. Now Xavi just inside the French half. Silva is available, that typical little Spanish look over the shoulder, and now Busquets joins in the tricks and pulls it away from Benzema, and Spain have it inside their own half once again. So Spain leading France by 1-0 on 5 Live. Got all the build up tomorrow during the course of the day to the final quarter-final, the England-Italy game in Kiev tomorrow night. You've got an early flight in the morning, haven't you, to be part of our team there, Chris Waddle. Graham Taylor's already set off this afternoon, so he'll be there before you. And obviously Mike Ingham and Alan Green with the commentary tomorrow night, and of course Mark will be with you, Mark Pugac as well, making the journey round about an hour, isn't it, from Kiev, from Donetsk here to Warsaw to Kiev. Too many host cities. Spain leading France by 1-0. Now Koscielny with the ball in front of his own penalty area, just passes it forward to Mvia, and France shuffle forward towards the halfway line, but there's no great confidence in the way that they do that with the ball halfway inside their own territory. And Villa now makes a gesture forward, but instead just rolls it towards the right-hand side, where it is brought forward by Debuchy. And now Reveillère forward towards Debuchy, now pushing well forward up that right flank. And once more Reveillère on the right, Reveillère and Debuchy together, still going down into the full-back position, but he has to cut back. Reveillère still on his right foot. Benzema gets involved over there. You wonder whether this is going to end in anything. Now Debuchy into the penalty area, might have fouled his man, then Debuchy goes down, but I think the initial foul was by him on the Spaniard, but in any case the ball's behind for a goal
I think it's Jordi Alba, isn't it, who just tripped up by Debuchy. I mean, France have started the game very well, nice tempo, passing the ball, but again there's no threat. They haven't got them clever players. You know, when you're relying on full-backs to double up and come down the flanks, you're looking for a bit of quality, and again not enough players get in the box when they get in good positions.
But the old conundrum for Laurent Blanc is, of course, against a team like Spain, if you commit yourself and perhaps make a positive move, then the space will open up for Spain at the other end.
But it's got to be a time, you've got to do it, because at the minute, yes, they're containing them very, very well, and they've probably had more possession second half, but you know, you've got to get that ball in it. You're one goal down, and I've looked at Spain. They've got Torres and Navas warming up, and now
Nasri's out there as well.
Yeah, Nasri now is alongside Giroud, and they're obviously going. It's not going to be long before we see changes.
So Spain leading France by that Alonso headed goal in the 19th minute. Spain leading France by a goal to nil here on BBC 5 Live. And here is Xavi to Ramos, Sergio Ramos back to Xavi once more. Fabregas made half a run forward there, but Xavi just held on to the ball, held on to possession, exchanges it with Iniesta, and then Alba plays it to Ramos, makes a dart down the left-hand side, Alba, but instead it goes infield towards Xavi. And now Iniesta clips it towards the right-hand side. Arbeloa is there. Arbeloa back to Fabregas. Fabregas' ball into the area, headed away by Koscielny. Still Spain. Alonso is going to shoot from 35 yards, but it flies wide and high into the support.
Well, Fabregas should have done better with the cross, really. He was very lazy, lackadaisical on it. But Alonso, why not? He's got the technique to hit the target from there.
So 1-0 Spain lead. And we've got a great prospect with the teams that we've got left in this competition over the course of the next week. The climax to Euro 2012. But it is Ribéry now who very nearly caught in possession again near the centre circle, but just is able to take it and run it away towards this left-hand side, and now Malouda plays it back to Koscielny in front of his own penalty area. Do join us as well, by the way, on 5 Live on Monday when our Wimbledon coverage begins, as we watch Malouda carrying the ball deep into Spanish territory to the right-hand side, where Debuchy plays it back to Reveillère. Ribéry makes a run. Instead it's Malouda now. Malouda square to Benzema just outside the box. Then Ribéry, right side of the penalty area. Sergio Ramos is there. The two of them try to hold one another off, sort of arms together, and the ball eventually rolls behind off Ribéry for a Spanish goal kick.
Anyone went on the strength side there, wasn't it? Ramos very, very strong, and he's quick as well, and Ribéry is. But again, a little bit better by France. And for me, Benzema keeps dropping too deep. They need somebody around that box.
Spain 1, France 0. Yep, still to come from 5 Live this summer. Wimbledon. Do try and listen to a bit of that, at least over the course of the next couple of weeks. The Open as well, the Olympics, and then the new football season as well is not too far away. Sitting here in the warmth of Donetsk, it feels like holiday time, I must say, in stark contrast to what we're hearing from home. France win the ball back, and now Ribéry to Benzema, but that's a really heavy touch from Benzema. But then Alba fails to clear. He hits it into Debuchy, who closed it down, and the ball is just kept in. No, he didn't. The flag goes up from the Italian assistant on the far side, and it's a throw into Spain down there next to the corner flag.
It's good signs for France. They're starting to win the ball higher up the field. Busquets goes down looking for a free kick, doesn't get one. But again, France waste that opportunity, and against the quality sides, you can't afford to do that.
Game of relatively few chances. We did feel that Spain had a good case for a penalty in the early stages. Clichy clipping the heels of Fabregas inside the penalty area. Beautifully worked goal the Spaniards scored with Iniesta playing it to Alba, who got away from Debuchy, who I notice is being talked of as a potential Newcastle player next season in the Premier League. Debuchy with a cross from Alba onto the head of Alonso to score. Spain with it halfway inside their own half as another French foray breaks down, and now Arbeloa lifts the ball infield towards Iniesta, but France win it back. But then Alonso wins it back for the Spanish. Arbeloa next to where Laurent Blanc is standing, just down here to our right. Arbeloa loses possession, throw into France. Clichy takes it. Ribéry now. Ribéry rides the challenge from Busquets. Oh, and then Ribéry couldn't find the pass to Benzema. And Spain now counter-attack, and they're away quickly. Xavi has Fabregas next to him, gives it to Iniesta. Iniesta just a little slip from him. Fabregas now looking for the run of Iniesta, pulls it with his right foot, and then finds the ball towards Sergio Ramos, who's up here on the right wing. Now Iniesta infield, and it all slows. France have got white shirts back behind the ball. Iniesta towards Fabregas, and Fabregas now to Alba, and then Silva in a more central position. Xavi, it's a huge moth, just flies in front of our eye line, and now it's all at walking pace again. Iniesta to Xavi, middle of the French half, and once again they tease it, they pull the ball from one side to the other, and France working hard without possession. Iniesta, then it goes back to Busquets again. Busquets back to his Barcelona teammate Iniesta now, who makes a move through the middle, but Vieira is there, and now Iniesta receives it back once again from Fabregas. Out to the left hand side it goes. No one inside the penalty area for Spain once more, so they continue to work it. Iniesta again to Alba on the left hand side. Alonso. Fabregas is the closest man to the penalty area, but Silva nowhere near it, and Spain actually end up working it back into their own half. They are quite literally playing without a striker. Piqué back to Arbeloa again, and France actually forcing Spain back, and forcing the long ball from Piqué that will just be seen back to Lloris by the head of Clichy. 1-0 Spain. Chris Waddle.
Great possession again, moving the ball all over the park, for right, left, back into the back four, back out right again. But I've got to say, France have started the second half with a bit of a purpose. They've upped the tempo, they've pressed them higher up the field, but they're just lacking that quality around the last third.
And asked you about a potential French change. What about Torres for Spain? 1-0 up in the game, you know, get someone on like Torres, get a second goal, win the game.
Well, it's not as easy as that, is it? Yeah, I know what you're saying. He's an out-and-out forward who's looking to get him behind, and he's not really like the Spanish team, is he? He's a completely different type of player. You know, he likes to run behind, he's very strong. He's not the best with his back to goal, let's be honest, so he can frustrate this team, but I'm sure there'll be a time where Navas will be coming on this park.
Still a stiflingly, swelteringly hot night in our little box here. All the other media benches in front of us, but we've got one of the permanent positions here that I presume they sit and commentate on Shakhtar Donetsk when it's -20. Here's Ribéry winning a free kick just inside his own half, and Benzema now out towards the right hand side. Here's a bit of urgency. Debuchy for Reveillère, and Reveillère's cross into the Spanish penalty area is beyond everyone in there, and Benzema has to dart out into the fullback position. Benzema now gliding into the box, but Silva arrives inside the penalty area and nicks it away from Ribéry. Spain give it away though, carelessly. Malouda holds off the challenge from Xavi, and now Cabaye turns as the tackle comes in on him from Silva, and the ball bounces away off Benzema and Piqué, and behind off the Spaniard last for a French corner.
Well, I've got to say, France have kept this tempo up. You know, first half I think they showed a little bit too much respect. They're having a right go now, and Spain have pushed them right back, and they're making a lot of mistakes.
France, who are based at the fabulous Shakhtar Donetsk training headquarters. Ribéry crosses it towards the back post. Busquets is there to head it away, and it comes out to Villa now. Still France have plenty of bodies forward after the set piece, but it's now with Clichy on this left side. Clichy to Ribéry, who tried to turn Silva, but he knew what was coming, Silva there, and just blocked it out for a throw in just in front of Del Bosque, who appears, his bald head from the dugout, to play the ball back for France to take the throw. Ribéry now might have been fouled by Xavi. The Italian referee Nicola Rizzoli says no, so Spain have got it once again. And now out to Silva. Oh, it's a little careless, gives it away. And now Malouda, but he's caught in possession. Alonso stole it back from Malouda, and Alonso now to Silva, and Silva has Fabregas to his right, and he gives it to Fabregas. Now there are red shirts arriving. Fabregas's ball across is cleared away. Iniesta was the closest to it, but it was cleared away at the back post and out for a throw-in.
Well, Xabi Alonso picks it up, a good tackle, robs Malouda, and lovely weighted pass eventually. And it's a dangerous ball, but again, both teams, you've got to say, the one thing they don't do is play a lot of players in the box when they're attacking, do they?
Spain once again. Silva, who might have been fouled there by Clichy, again his clubmate at Manchester City. He's back on his feet though, as he just flicked it to Fabregas. Then Fabregas quickly back in field, and Spain move it now to the left hand side. Iniesta looking for the run from Alba, who checks it, then gives it back, well, passes it straight out of play actually, and they've not quite, have they, been at the absolute top of their game tonight.
I think it spells the first half when they were moving it around, the pace, they were moving it around 1-2 touch was great on the eye, but again, they haven't really troubled the keeper, John.
No. Here's Clichy now to Ribery. Ribery's touch was heavy, and that meant that Ramos could come across and just blast it straight out of play into the hoardings, and it bounces down into the spectators to our left-hand side. Throwing to the French. Clichy almost up level with the edge of the Spanish penalty area, with half an hour of the 90 minutes to play, and Spain leading by a goal to nil on this steamy Saturday night in Donetsk. Ribery does well, gets the ball across, and it's headed over the top by Debuchy, who got away from the left back Alba but headed it 2 feet over.
Oh, good ball, and they're getting bodies in the box. You know, that's the right side of midfield player, normally a full back. Ribery, great bit of skill and delivery, nice and early. And it's better from France. They're getting people in the box, and it's an effort on goal. All right, went high. I think Menez is coming on, John, at any minute now.
Right. Well, that's the first note I've made in the second half in terms of an attempt on goal by either side. So Menez will be the first to come on, as I mentioned, the Paris Saint-Germain player who is 25 years old, can play on the right side. That's where he played, wasn't it, when he scored the goal against Ukraine here on that second group match. France's only win of the tournament so far. They're behind here, but coming forward with Clichy now. Clichy has Ribery ahead of him. Ribery now attacking Arbeloa. Clichy continues his run down the left-hand side. Clichy's cross into the box, headed away by Ramos, comes out to Cabaye, who chests it into the area. Ribery back to Cabaye, got it caught up underneath his feet, reaches Malouda, but it scrambled away the bouncing ball, and it just didn't run for France inside the Spanish penalty area there.
Well, that's what I expected more from France. They've done it second half, they didn't do it first half. They are throwing bodies forward, they are having a go now, and it's a good game.
Menez is just about ready to come on. It's going to be a double change look. Nasri is also being called forward. So Menez and Nasri. Oh, ball played in. Fabregas, but Lloris comes out and smothers it, blocks it, slides out, possibly into the D when he made contact on it ahead of Fabregas. And that was an important piece of goalkeeping by the French captain.
Well, it was. Lloris comes out very well, times it well. He just couldn't lift the ball over him, could he? But you've got to say, they've rattled Spain. They've come off the pace, they've really upped the tempo, France, and they're getting in the faces, and they're not as fluent as they were first half, Spain.
Still 1-0 to the Spanish though, and still Menez and Nasri wait to come on. Nasri with his collar turned up and just doing one or two stretches. Iniesta for Spain, middle of the French half. Now Iniesta to Alba on the left flank, and Iniesta now with a low pass. It's intercepted, and France play it away to Ribery. Oh look, the Spaniards are going to make a double change as well. Torres and Pedro. Pedro's going to come on for his first appearance of the tournament. So anything you can do, Laurent, the Spanish can do as well. So we're going to have a very complicated and lengthy substitution. Stand by for the PA system as they announce 4 substitutions, one after the other. Here's Xavi in the centre circle, right next to the centre spot itself. Silva gets involved, and then the goal scorer Alonso once again to the left hand side to Alba. Now once more Alonso and Silva. Reveille closest to him, and Spain just keeping possession in the central third of the field and sort of blunting whatever momentum France have been able to get together in the opening period of this second half. Ramos in with a challenge on the halfway line to make sure Spain keep possession. Alba to Iniesta. That was an awkward ball for him to have to deal with, and it was nicked off him by Umvia. Malouda back to Umvia again, and now Malouda moves into some space here on the left hand side. Malouda now moving forward, Benzema inside him. Benzema shoots awfully, and he's landed it 3/4 of the way up the lower tier in amongst all of the red and yellow Spanish fans.
Well, here's the substitutions. I'll let you go through them, John, but again, France again intercepting the ball and off-willing, breaking quick.
Right, number 1 is Menez for Debuchy. So Menez will take over on the right hand side of the French midfield. Number 2 is Malouda coming off and Nasri coming on. So it'll be interesting to see how this is going to work with Menez, Nasri and Ribery. So on comes Samir Nasri with his collar, as I say, turned up. So now the two Spanish changes, and Pedro making his first appearance at Euro 2012. Pedro of Barcelona scored 2 goals in the Spanish Cup final right at the end of the season. David Silva makes way for him. And the final change, this is all being overseen by the Scottish fourth official, Craig Thompson. Fernando Torres just not quite coming on yet. He's still ready, he's having a swig of water, but Del Bosque is just going to see possibly how this is going to work with Menez, Nasri and Ribéry playing for France. Although Torres now does walk forward, so I think we will see the change in a moment. So Spain leading by 1-0. 25 minutes to go on 5 Live here in Donetsk. Xavi to Pedro. Oh good, we're getting the announcements in all languages. Xavi back into the centre circle to Alonso. Alonso to Alba now on the left hand side. Fabregas is in the middle. Ball comes across, intercepted by a sliding Rami, stretching a leg, full length, left footed to put it behind for a Spanish corner.
There's a problem, John, already, because you had Debussy Rivera over there before, which protected that Alba run. Now you've got Menez, who doesn't really want to defend like that, and there's the gap appearing, which could have proved costly.
Ribéry just comes across for a swig of the water from the bottles that are lined up on the edge of the French coaching area. Spain with a corner. First corner for Spain in the second half, actually, with 25 minutes to play. Here's the delivery now to the near post. Oh, it's gone a long way. Sergio Ramos at the back post, but it bounced past him. Really seemed to kick off the surface almost. And then Clichy was across to play it off Sergio Ramos and out of play for a throw-in. And I think we will now see Torres come on. Curious that there was that little delay, but it is Fabregas who makes way for Torres.
Well, you prefer Fabregas coming from deeper, where we saw him playing in Arsenal's shirt a lot, where he comes onto the ball and he scores goals. I think when he's been up there with his back to play, he's not a centre forward, you can see that, does a job. Obviously he's a good link-up player, but he's better coming onto the ball.
So here he comes, Fabregas, with his head slightly bowed, and slaps hands with Fernando Torres, who comes on to a huge cheer. Fernando Torres to win his 97th cap for Spain, who lead by 1-0. France with the throw-in their own left-back area to Benzema, who was just caught there by Arbeloa after he played the ball away, and Benzema has gone down off the pitch. So technically play should be able to continue. In fact, Nasri comes across and actually helps him to his feet. Throw-in to France. Benzema perfectly okay. Clichy to take the throw. Just waiting for it. There's no movement at all. So he goes with a long throw, aiming for Ribéry. Arbeloa heads it back, but straight to Mvilla, who moves it to the right-hand side. Revier thought it wasn't going to reach him there for a moment. Now here is a first chance for us to see what Menez can do on the right flank. He's up against Alba, shows too much of the ball to Alba and then fouls him, so a free kick to Spain.
Well, he's got good feet, he's quite quick, he's got a trick, hasn't he? He can open doors, but Alba's very, very quick. He's not going to run him.
That's Chris Waddle. We're halfway through the second half on 5 Live, and it's time for Conor McNamara again.
Thanks very much, John. Well, it's going to take a very good team to beat Spain at this Euro 2012 tournament, and France still, Chris, have a chance of being that team who could beat them tonight. We've got a quarter of this game to go. It's still just 1-0.
Well, they're going to have to keep throwing, chasing and Harrison, and you just hope you get that one chance and it falls to your player who you wanted to, and probably Benzema or Ribéry, I would say, the form they've flown. But they've just got to keep plugging away.
Jeremy Menez, who's come on as a second half substitute here, is a break up because Xavi wants to try a shot down the other end, just cannoned into the body of Koscielny, and it ricochets back to the halfway line. But Menez was second only to the new Chelsea man Eden Hazard as the provider of most assists in the French league last season. He's very much playing wide on the right hand side now is Menez, as Spain come through the middle here. Iniesta, Spain playing from left to right as we look down. The red jerseys, blue shorts, Red Sox. That's a glorious ball over the top, and Alba's into the penalty area, pulls it back for Torres, who doesn't get his first shot at goal because Koscielny slid in and put it out for a corner.
Well, It's a great little move again. At elbow releases Pedro, who's come on as substitute, hasn't he? In terrific pace. His movement's fantastic. When you watch him at Barcelona as well, always looking to get in behind full-backs. It's a nice early ball. Torres just doesn't gamble early enough.
So Xavi will take the corner for Spain on the left-hand side. They lead France 1-0 in this quarter-final. High delivery into the centre, too high for Sergio Ramos, who had come forward there, and Revier is able to head the ball away back towards the edge of the box. Pedro tries a little back heel, but it carries through to Lloris, the goalkeeper, and he calmly passes the ball to the left-hand side, and Clichy will come away with the ball for the French, long over the halfway line. Picks out Karim Benzema, close to the touchline left-hand side, gets away for the first challenge, but then Busquets tackles him and Spain regain possession. And you notice this in the game, even if France have got players caught up the pitch, Spain don't go for the sort of lightning direct counter-attack. Even if there's only one or two defenders back there, they continue to build up at their preferred pace.
It's all about possession, isn't it? Dominating the game.
They're giving the ball away there though. Busquets with a back heel, Ribéry's into the penalty area, chance for France, heavy touch though from Ribéry, cross into the centre, Casillas is there to save it. He needed 2 bites of the cherry, the goalkeeper, but Iker Casillas was able to stop the chance, and maybe Ribéry needed to hit that a bit earlier.
Maybe he did, but Menez, great run from right wing across the goal. Torres is offside on the counter attack, and Menez makes a terrific run. At least he's willing to get in that box. That's where you're going to score.
Here come France once more. Clichy just down below us, left touchline, and Menez, who's drifted across to get involved in things, flicked it towards Ribéry, who couldn't control it, and it's helped back by Gerard Piqué to the goalkeeper Iker Casillas, who last time out against Croatia kept his 76th clean sheet for Spain. No goalkeeper in the history of international football has kept more clean sheets than that. A good ball here from Busquets towards Torres, but he was a fraction offside, so free kick to France.
Well, they are squeezing the game, France now, aren't they? Playing very high. It's very risky playing this high lane the way Spain can keep the ball. They will get somebody through on a run. Torres has just got to come out, let one of the midfield runners go, and they can cut this team up. But France, give them credit, they haven't lied down, have they? They've come out and they've had a right go.
20 minutes to play, Chris. At what stage do you just throw caution to the wind and go for this?
Well, I think if we look at Giroud, who's scored a lot of goals in the French league with Montpellier, who's obviously gone to Arsenal, maybe go him up front and play Benzema off him and take another risk, and he might have to take one of the full-backs off, but it'll probably last 10-15 minutes when he does that.
Kabaye gives it short to Nasri, who wasn't in the starting 11 tonight. Across to Koscielny, and France break into the Spain half. Clichy, though, rapidly retreats back towards the halfway line. He's been put under a lot of pressure from Arbeloa. France hold on to possession. Mavia inside the centre circle. Short to Clichy. Forward now again onto Benzema, who's playing deep in midfield. And France once again are forced back into their own half. If they want to hold on to possession, they've got to retreat, such as the pressure of that Spanish front three. And Xavi and Torres hunting in packs with Pedro. At the moment, France finding it difficult just to get up to the halfway line. Mavia gives it short to Ribéry. Look how deep he's dropped. Now Nasri will turn inside the centre circle. Torres sprints after him with the green boots. Nasri wants to glide it out to the right wing. He's asking an awful lot here of Rivera out on that wing, but he won't get there, and Spain managed to clear it away, albeit out for a throw. Taken quickly by Kabaye. Gives it to Nasri, and again back to the halfway line go France. Mavia put under pressure by Xavi. And now this is Rami across the central defensive positions. Spain just do not look troubled here. They look like a team who've got everything under control, albeit just leading by the 1-0. This is 5 Live from the BBC. England against Italy to come tomorrow night here. Full commentary, of course. We'll be building up for it right the way through the day. Koscielny comes over the halfway line. A few long strides now. Gives a pass to Ribéry. That's a decent turn. Now he's got support from Clichy. There are 3 Frenchmen in the box, and Clichy just gives the ball away so simply to Arbeloa. And the ball, when it's cleared away by the Spanish fullback, goes off Clichy, and that means it'll be a Spanish throw.
He had a chance to put it in, didn't he? First touch, he just had it out of his feet. He looked and he thought, no, there's not enough in there. I think he put it in there. But you've got to say, give France credit. They haven't lied down and sat back. They've come out and they're willing to take risks.
Well, surely when Laurent Blanc was thinking through this game and how it might run, he'll have considered a position where his team were 1 goal down and a quarter of an hour to go. He's, of course, played under some decent managers in his time, hasn't he? Bobby Robson at Barcelona, Lippi at Inter, Alex Ferguson at Manchester United. Surely he's got a plan B or a plan C to bring into things now as Benzema chases down the left-hand side, but Gerard Piqué beats him to it and the ball goes out of play and out for, once again, a Spanish throw. Still warm temperatures here. It's almost 11:15 local time in Donetsk, and the Spanish fans, the pocket of them away to our left-hand side with their red and yellow flags in the air and clapping their team. You would say the majority of supporters in this stadium are neutrals, local Ukrainians who've come along to see the game. That there are very few French here, and given it's a quarter-final, there really aren't that many Spanish either. Perhaps the French felt that they would be occupying England's place tomorrow and they hadn't planned to be here. The attendance is 47,000. I mean, there aren't many empty seats around the stadium, but I think it's more a neutral venue at the moment between these two nations. Long ball played forward towards the edge of the penalty area. Benzema gets up at the edge of the box and wins the header. Menzies was arriving, but a free kick has been awarded to Spain, and that will relieve a bit of pressure.
He's going to get a yellow card for gesturing at the referee and saying some words and waving his arms,
and that means that
pick up yellow cards on.
Jérémy Menez would miss the semi-final should France get a couple of goals and get ahead in this quarter-final. He'd already received a yellow card in the group stages, and Menez, who's not been on the field too long, has now entered the referee's notebook. Spain clear the ball back down into the French half, and the ball comes off Koscielny, and that will be a throw into Spain. Blanc in his dark grey trousers, light blue shirt, stands with his arms crossed and just looks like he might be biting a fingernail or two down there. Certainly got his thumb around his mouth. Throw in taken by Arbeloa down towards the corner flag where Torres sprints towards him. Gets there ahead of Koscielny, tries to shuffle around the Arsenal man. Koscielny sticks out a boot and puts that out for a corner, and that's probably what Torres wanted all along.
That's right, and there's not going to be no rush at all about this. The referee is telling him to hurry up, but Spain are not in a rush. They're 1-0 up, and as I say, France are asking a few questions, but Spain always look a threat on the break.
Spain 1, France 0. Xabi Alonso's goal in the 19th minute. And the take of the corner short, Iniesta to Xabi, and a very uncharacteristic error between the two of those who seem to be on each other's wavelength permanently. Iniesta passed the ball to Xabi, who'd already ran away, and it goes out of play, and it's it reminds us that they are human. It must, though, Chris, be so frustrating to play against Spain in this sort of situation if you're France.
Well, it is, because they just pass it around you, and as I say, it's a mental thing. You've got to have the discipline to stay with it.
Here comes Xabi Alonso. He's asking a lot of Pedro down the left-hand side. Rami gets there first and just puts his large, bulky frame in front of the ball. And although it took a while to trickle out of play, there was no way Pedro was going to get in around Rami. And that will be a goal kick to France, who are preparing to make another change here. And it will be Olivier Giroud. And we mentioned the Montpellier striker, linked with a move to the Premier League, perhaps to Arsenal. He's going to come on. And he is, in this era of false nines, he's a proper actual nine, isn't he? He's a big target man of a centre forward, the number 9 on his back. And it'll be something to aim for if France are resorted to just launching it long towards the edge of the penalty area.
I think a lot of goals, if you see him on Montpellier, there's a lot of rebounds. The goalie spills it, he's there, he's a box player, and that's what France have been lacking, haven't they? Look, Benzema's picking it up now. Look, he's well in his own half. You don't want him back there, you want him in the other half.
Yeah. French players not coming forward very much in this game. Most French possession has been around the halfway line. This is Piqué coming out of defence for Spain with a long, uncharacteristic Spanish ball over the top, which doesn't find Arbeloa's run, and it goes straight out of play. So here is the swap, and it will be Giroud coming on in place of the holding midfielder Jan Mavia.
That's a strange one. Mavia's just walked straight off. Look at that. Not even shook hands, straight in the dugout. I think he's got a point, I've got to say. I think he's one of the better players. I know you're chasing the game, but I would have took Benzema off. He's not really affecting the game, playing too deep. I'm very surprised in that decision.
So Giroud is on. He's been called the French Andy Carroll. Both wear number 9 for their countries, both 6'3" tall, both at their first major tournament. And when the squads were announced, both players have got 1 international goal to their name from their first 4 caps. And Andy Carroll has scored here at the Euros. Let's see if Olivier Giroud can do the same for France. They need a goal here, or their participation at Euro 2012 will come to an end here tonight. Spain lead 1-0. Xabi Alonso's goal here on 5 Live. That's beautiful movement on the left-hand side. Torres is in. Linesman's flag is up. And Hugo Lloris, the goalkeeper, made a fantastic save anyway. It wouldn't have counted, but what a save.
Well, that's what Torres gives you. Plays on the shoulder, isn't he? When Fabregas was up there, he wants to come deep all the time, a bit like Benzema plays for France, wants to be in the ball all the time. Torres is the opposite. He will be caught offside on numerous occasions, but he's always a threat because he plays on the shoulder. But as you say, what a wonderful save. He didn't know he was offside.
10 minutes plus the stoppages to go, and France need a goal here. Rami comes out of defence. Lateral pass to his left-hand side to Laurent Koscielny, now over the halfway line, and a first touch for Giroud. Big with the white boots, gives it away immediately to Iniesta, and then Iniesta and Xavi play the ball around Giroud, and it's very much welcome to the game, and Giroud gets a taste of the medicine his teammates have had to endure. Not the most promising start for the Montpellier striker. Spain have possession. Iniesta inside the French half. Xabi Alonso's beautiful ball into space, springs Jordi Alba into things on the left-hand side. His little 1-2 with Pedro. And now Iniesta tries to turn into Rami, who, as we mentioned, is a big burly figure. Iniesta goes to ground. Referee says it was a fair challenge, and that's gone out for a throw into France. But they're still deep inside their own half. Revier in the right back position with 2 Spaniards absolutely snapping at his heels, and he eventually launches a long ball to the near touchline, and Clichy's got a bit more room now to break into the Spanish half. Ribery short up ahead of him. Low ball into Benzema, and it breaks down again, and France just cannot hold on to the ball in their opponent's half.
Well, I've been disappointed in this tournament with Benzema. He had great things, how he sorted his head out. He's doing this for Real Madrid, doing that. He struggled in this tournament.
Karim Benzema was France's joint top scorer in qualifying, but it is all relative. He only got 3 goals. Greece, the only nation who scored fewer goals in qualifying than France. And they are a team very much bereft of a goal here tonight in Donetsk. Manolo, that's his name, isn't it? The Spanish fan who brings his drum. He's pounding out the beat away to our left-hand side as Iniesta comes through the centre of midfield. Tried to play a 1-2 with Pedro. It wasn't the best return pass from the Barcelona man. Giroud on the halfway line. Has to go back into his own half again. Story of the game for France. Revier passes to Koscielny. Finally over the halfway line. Short to Ribery. Clichy's gone on the overlap on the left. Ribery holds onto possession with Xavi in close proximity to him. It's back into Nasri, who you have to say, raised eyebrows that Nasri wasn't in the starting 11, but he's not done much, Chris, since coming on in the second half.
No, he's not got on the ball. He's playing a lot deeper because obviously they've subbed and Villar's gone off, and he's had to sit in midfield alongside Kabay.
Clichy steadies himself to cross on the left-hand side. High ball in towards Giroud, but much too high for him, and Giroud actually points his finger down towards the ground, and he says, how am I supposed to get to that all the way up there? Spain come away through the centre. Fernando Torres, left out of the starting 11 tonight, but brought on as a second half substitute for the man who started ahead of him, Fabregas. Spain holding on to the ball inside the centre circle. Well, we had said there hadn't been a bad game yet at Euro 2012. Does this count as a bad game, Chris Waddle?
I think we've seen some nice football, all right. Not enough goal action, which people want to see, and that's why it'll be classed as a bad game, I suppose. But you've got to say both teams technically and tactically are very good.
I think if you're a real football fan, you'll always enjoy watching the way Spain, even if they're not going anywhere, just how they hold on to possession in the middle of midfield. And Arbeloa here slides in to make sure they keep possession here. Busquets been put under a bit of pressure from Menez just to give it back to Casillas. And Casillas just turns away from Giroud and sends his clearance straight out of play. So that will be a throw into the French. Another swap coming on for Spain. And they're going to bring on another attack-minded player, Santi Cazorla of Malaga. He's going to come on. And the man he'll replace, arguably Spain's best player, Andrés Iniesta goes off, replaced by Santi Cazorla. Fresh pair of legs for the last few minutes now.
Well, Iniesta, he's had a good game. I think out the tournament so far, I think that's his quietest game. Yeah. I think Alonso's been a pick of the players for me tonight in the Spanish shirt. They've done enough so far to win this game, but give France credit, they've had a go.
Yep. Alonso scored the goal tonight, and he's been part of everything Spain have done well here in terms of keeping the French at bay. 1-0 remains the scoreline. We've got 6 minutes plus the stoppages to come. This is 5 Live from the BBC. Will there be a sting in the tail here? This looks as if Spain are stretching their legs in the final furlong now to go and play Portugal in the semi-final, unless France can come up with something. They've 2 proper strikers up there now, Benzema and Giroud, but they can't get the ball up to them, as it's once again intercepted in midfield. Xabi Alonso onto Torres, and poor ball from Torres, too far ahead of Pedro. Perhaps Pedro might have made more of an effort to get onto it, but it didn't happen between the two.
He checked his run, didn't he? He's obviously thought, keep possession, don't need to force it, we're winning, let's just keep the ball and run the clock down.
The beat of the drum reverberates around the stadium. I'm just thinking about taking Iniesta off. Perhaps Del Bosque is thinking about saving Andres Iniesta for the semi-final already. I know a bit premature for that, but injuries inevitable at these tournaments. Most teams will average a scar a man. Games come thick and fast. It's not long to recover between now and the semi-final. Casillas here waits for Giroud to come sprinting right into him before he picks up the ball, but Spain have dragged the pace of this game right down to where they wanted to be. France might be doing a lot of running, but they're just chasing the ball at the moment.
I think they got a little bit tired, I don't know, to the heat or what. They've been a little bit sloppy. Give France credit though, they've been in the faces a lot more second half than they did first, and I think Spain got a little bit tired and they've been sloppy on options, picking the wrong option most of the time. But they haven't really been troubled.
Cabaye, the Newcastle man, plays it forward for France. The linesman's flag was raised against Giroud anyway. He didn't win the header, but the linesman put up the flag, and that will be a free kick to Spain. And the seconds continue to sift away in their favour, and we've now got just 4 minutes to go of normal time. Spain have never won a European Championship quarter-final in regulation time in the past. Nodded down by Torres to Cazorla. That's his first touch, not the best. And then Koscielny tried a backheel to Clichy, which didn't go anywhere near the Manchester City man. It's gone out of play for a throw into Spain, and France remain pinned right back. Arbeloa comes at snail's pace to take the throw in. Arbeloa's throw to Fernando Torres, close to the corner flag, right hand side. Koscielny snapping away. Koscielny's done well to win the ball and keep it alive, and Cabaye hacks it up towards the halfway line. Ribery easily dealt with by Busquets. Ball goes out of play, and that'll be a throw into Spain.
Well, no rush. Spain's in their half. They're just trying to keep the ball, but they just get very sloppy. I think they're just tired. I do honestly believe this, and that was a concern coming at the tournament about the Spanish side.
Rami hacks it forward. Benzema does win the header ahead of Piqué, but he can't pick out Giroud. Comes back for France once again. Benzema 10 yards outside the penalty area. Ribery on the left hand side. What if there was a French goal now? Ribery in the penalty area, 3 defenders around him though. Can't produce a cross, does manage to win a corner. So late in the game here in Donetsk, France, who've hardly had a sniff all game, are trailing 1-0, and they've won their first corner in a long time. Nasri prepares to take it. 2.5 minutes of normal time to go. High towards the back post. Rami wins the header, and it bounces once in the 6-yard box and goes harmlessly out for a goal kick to Spain.
Well, Koscielny got slightly held by Arbeloa, I think it was, and referee have none of that. But there'll be no rush again from Spain. As I say, I think the last half hour of this game have looked very tired and got sloppy with their passing, and France up with the tempo.
If it is to be Spain against Portugal in the semi-final, Chris,
good game.
Yeah,
but Portugal will go for it. They play the same way, the same team every game, and they'll have to obviously be as similar. It'll be thinking we can get a threat if we can get it to Ronaldo.
Rami here allows the ball to bounce in front of him. That's dangerous with Torres in proximity, but Torres can't get clean control of it, and it carries through to the goalkeeper Loris.
Well, as I say, if Portugal will be thinking, well, with speed flaws, but listen, when you play Spain, you know what you're going to get. You've got to be patient, and Portugal have got some good attackers.
The Portuguese would fancy their chances of troubling the Spanish defence a little bit more than Spain have tonight. The French press will analyse it. Well, making the 4 changes and then to play like this, do you think Laurent Blanc will be criticised?
Well, if normally in France you do, don't you? So I would probably think they've said, tactically they'd probably say, did he get it right from the start? The way they've competed second half, could have done that first half. But you've got to say Spain were fresh. They moved the ball very, very well, which we expected. In France had to do a lot of chasing. In second half, Spain's come off the pace, which France have grew in confidence. But when you look at it, they've never really had a goal threat.
Well, it's not been a vintage France team at this tournament, as but pre-kickoff Mark Pugac read out the names of the 1998 winning squad, and every one of them sounded a better player than the other. Here comes Xavi. Spain would love the second goal now, just to make sure there's no nerves in stoppage time. Bit of space here for Cazorla, threads one into the penalty area. This could be it for Pedro. He's been taken down. It's a penalty to Spain in the 90th minute, and a chance now to seal their place in the semi-final.
Well, no, it was who's brought him down. Great step over by Pedro, just gets the space, just turn, great little step over Rami. No, it's not. It's
Riviere was the man who fouled him.
Yeah, and he's got him. But what a great bit of skill. Right now, no card at all. Great bit of skill. Is it Alonso who takes them?
Xabi Alonso on his 100th cap for his country. He's already on the scoreboard. There will be 4 minutes to be added on here for stoppages, and Spain with the chance to get a second goal that would surely finish off the French. Number 14 on his back, Xabi Alonso, up until this moment has scored 14 international goals for his country. It's a long run up. Here is Alonso, right footed, scores and books Spain's place in the semi-final here in Donetsk against Portugal. It's Spain 2, France 0, and both goals from the former Liverpool man, Xabi Alonso.
Well, never in doubt, was it? The way he strode up, strikes a fantastic ball, doesn't he? What a great passer of the ball he is. Just rated the goal, he went slightly left, reverses it, inside the foot, bottom corner. I think even if he'd gone right, the keeper wouldn't have saved it. Great penalty. Probably, definitely for me, the man of the match.
The picture is becoming ever clearer of the lineup for this year's semi-finals of the European Championship. We know that Germany are there, we know Portugal are there, we are almost certain that Spain are there, and tomorrow night we find out if it will be England or Italy who will be joining them. And full commentary right here on 5 Live on that England game. Here it's just the closing stages now. France urgent with the restart, but frankly Nasri was part of a 2-goal salvo in stoppage time for Manchester City not too long ago. They weren't playing against this Spain team, mind you, were they? This is Cazorla inside the centre circle, and you'd imagine Spain will just try to hold on to the ball now for the remaining few minutes. 4 minutes to be added on. We've already played 2 of those. And here is the man who's got both goals tonight, Xabi Alonso, in possession. Beautiful turn and low gliding pass into Xavi close to the centre circle. Gets it back from Cazorla. Helps on to Jordi Alba on the left hand side. And the Spanish fans here now cheering every pass. May not have been spectacular tonight, but I think a masterclass in what Spain do so well in terms of suffocating their opponent's possession of the ball. France have not had a sniff tonight. So few attempts at goal. As Clichy tries to pick out Benzema, flicks it into Ribéry. Ribéry up against Busquets, manages to get it back out to Clichy on this near touchline. Spain lead 2-0. We're into the final minute of stoppages. Ball goes out of play, and that will be a throw into the French.
Well, game over. They've had a funny spell, Spain, the second half, where they got sloppy, give the ball away. I think I was down to France pressing them a bit harder. Maybe it was tailed with the heat, whatever. But again, they're on that possession one again.
Pedro scampers after a long ball down the left-hand side. Rami comes out to try and get him. Pedro with a few stepovers, steals a bit of space. Rami isn't giving up though, looks to push him. Pedro feints a back heel and skips finally away from the giant French defender and plays it infield to Xabi Alonso. On now to Busquets. Look at Torres, he's not settling for 2-0. Torres in the penalty area with the green boots, turns, tries to strike it. Koscielny, who you must say has done well in shackling Torres in this second half, blocks the ball out for a corner.
He's done well against Fabregas as well. He's a good defender, Koscielny, isn't he? He's very reliable, but again, they just step it up a gear, don't they? Pedro's been a great substitution.
Spain take the corner short. Seconds remaining now. Xabi tackled, but there is the final whistle for the Italian referee, and we know the outcome for 3 of the semi-finalists. Tomorrow we find out if England will be joining them. But what we've learned so far in these quarter-finals is that if England do get there, there are 3 very good teams awaiting them.
Well, I've got to say, Spain, you come to watch them, you know what you're going to get. They look after the ball very, very well. Probably don't create as much chances as you probably want with all the possession they have, but they always seem to do enough. They are the best team football-wise in the world, there's no doubt about that. Probably, maybe you'd like to see Torres start because he has got a little bit of, wants to get in the box and can probably get a few more goals for them, but the system to play, very good, very effective, very hard to play against. France didn't take a lot from this tournament, they've done okay, and if Laurent Blanc stays or whoever comes in, he's got some decent players to work with if he can curb the egos.
For the first time ever, Spain have beaten France in a competitive game, and the Spanish dream of 3 major titles back to back remains alive. It's been Spain's night, Mark Pugac. It's been Xabi Alonso's night. He's 100th cap for his country, and what a way to mark it. He scored both goals as Spain have beaten France 2-0.